Welcome back to Ahead of the Chains. I'm Patrick Cipher, and we're in the thick of March Madness right now, right? But there's a decent amount of NFL news to still be talking about here. The draft is still right on the horizon, and with all
hmm
the craziness of March Madness, I know it's easy to forget about some of that, but there still is a lot here. Like we're going to talk about the AJ Brown trade market, which is suddenly very quiet. I definitely want to dive into specifically the wide receiver class because I think it's a very interesting one. A fun episode here, but I'm not going to lie, it's not March Madness, right? Like March
Who do
Madness
you have
and
winning March Madness? Just throw out a college.
so how could you not say Duke? So we're recording this
How
right
could you
after
not?
Florida lost. We're
Yeah,
recording this right after Florida lost,
yeah,
right? Even before that, I was gonna say Duke. Uh, there doesn't really seem to be a Cinderella team, which is kind of annoying. But
yeah.
Iowa just beat number one seed Florida in a crazy game. Like there has been some great basketball being played. It sucks. There's not even remotely a similar product on the NBA side of things.
No,
But
that makes
the
sense.
product every March that the NCAA pumps out is always really entertaining, even though there's not as many of the feel good stories as there once was.
Yeah, I admittedly haven't been keeping up with March Madness as much as a 23-year-old man is expected to. However, there's two things that I've noticed about March Madness that I think are hilarious. First off, you mentioned that Florida loss, which I wasn't aware about, but I guess in their last game or the game before, they were just kicking the shit out of some team, and they interviewed the other team's coach, and they were like, "Hey, Florida's on an 18-0 run. Like, what do you guys got to do?" And he literally said on live television, "We need to ask the Lord for help." Like, bro is praying to God to beat the Florida Gators, which was hilarious. The other stat I saw that I thought was hilarious, and this goes back to my anti NIL rant, which I will go on eventually, is
Mm.
um, there was a player, I believe, on Kentucky who they took away from Michigan. They paid him $2 million to play for, I believe it was Kentucky, to leave Michigan. He ended up scoring 20 points the entire season, which means he earned $100,000 per point. If that's not efficiency, I don't know what is. That is the most efficient bag I've ever seen in my life. You want to talk about the minimum amount of work you can to get $2 million? That's it. So, yeah, March Madness again. Haven't been keeping up with it. I know everybody in here. They're big Fighting Illini guys. I actually have a friend who is on the team. I think he's a redshirt sophomore if I'm not mistaken. So shout out Fighting Illini. I guess by default they're my team for March Madness, but. Yeah, I'm in the weeds on baseball spring training, so I don't know what you're talking about with
Yeah,
March
that's
Madness.
crazy, dude.
This is baseball spring
Listen,
training time. Okay, I'm in the weeds.
anyone that watched that Vanderbilt against Nebraska game, literal like a centimeter off of the craziest buzzer beater I've seen in any sport.
Yeah,
That would have been insane. And that entire game was crazy. You have two teams that were going, a fight to the death. It's just insane to me. You watch the product they put out every March. It's every March in the NCAA. And then watch what's going on in the NBA. It's night and day. The
yeah,
NBA product has been so insanely weak
yeah.
for
I agree.
so long now. It really is a kind of infuriating thing. But March Madness is definitely a breath of fresh air. Still, though, we have an interesting draft to talk about
We do,
here and
we do,
some interesting prospects, such as
we do.
Jeremiyah Love. The
Yes.
running back market is a topic that I definitely have an opinion on.
Oh,
But Jeremiah
certainly.
Love is a hell of a running back. There's no one doubting that. Projected to go early, despite the positional value of a running back, does deserve to go early. He's very talented.
Yeah.
You look at the teams with the early picks, though. How do you expect this to play out with Jeremiah Love?
So I can say without a doubt he's not going number one. We know that. Without a
Mm-hmm.
doubt, I would be very, very, very shocked if the Jets take him at number two. Although that would be a very Jets thing to do after franchise tagging Brees Hall. Arizona to me is where it starts to get interesting because Arizona, should they take a running back? I do not think so. I don't think that they're a running back away. But it becomes a spot where, say, they have Arvell Reese like we do as the number one edge rusher in the NFL in the draft, and they don't love any of the offensive tackles that they would take at pick three. Jeremiah Love, like as a player, is worthy of the number three overall pick. It's the positional value that will get some teams debating that, which is a fair debate. But I think number 3 with the Arizona Cardinals is where it really gets interesting because the running back situation right now is very weak. Otherwise, on offense, I mean, they got a lot of great players. So while I don't think that he's going to the Cardinals, to me, third overall is where it really starts to become all right. Now we're on Jeremiyah Love watch for the draft.
I agree. I agree there. But I think the thing you have to keep in mind, and the issue is even if we keep it in mind, the GMs might not. The Raiders last year, they draft this generational running back in
Yeah.
Ashton Genty. And I think Genty's a better prospect than Jeremiyah Love. They're very, very different.
Yeah,
Very
it's
different
so
players.
hard. It'd be so hard.
Yeah, they play the position entirely differently.
Not only that, but
But
one guy went to Boise State, the other guy goes to Blue Blood, Notre
yes.
Dame. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. You're right. So it's a very different evaluation. But personally, I prefer Ashton Genty. That's relevant to the point. The point
which is
is
fair.
you're looking at 2 running backs
Yeah.
that are creme de la creme. I mean, some of the best
Yeah.
running backs you could possibly get in the modern era coming out of college, right? And Ashton Genty, what did he do this year for the Raiders? The Raiders didn't do much. Genty being on that team didn't really change a lot about how that team's season played out, right? Despite him being this great running back, and he was a great running back. There's no one doubting that. The film says he was a great running back. So, yeah, Jeremiyah Love might be this guy, but if a team like the Cardinals takes Jeremiyah Love, are they going to be a much better football team? The answer is no. The answer is no. Right? And it's the same thing with Tennessee at 4, right? They might take him, but they definitely shouldn't. I mean, they have no business. I think the first team in terms of draft order that could take Jeremiyah Love without it being like this offensive decision would be the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's ideal. I would rather have Sonny Styles. I would probably rather have Caleb Downs too. But if they ended up taking Jeremiyah Love, I don't think it would be a bad pick. For the Titans, Cardinals, and definitely the Jets and Raiders, it would be a bad pick. So that's where I stand right now.
Yeah, I would say I would be pretty shocked if he goes past 5, but I think that there's a lower floor for him in the draft. I think that's 7 to Washington. Like I don't imagine that he would get past number 7 in Washington. And part of the reason I say that is because both the Saints and the Chiefs, who have pick 8 and 9, spent big money on free agent running backs. I believe if either one of those teams thought they could get Jeremiyah Love, they probably wouldn't have signed Kenneth Walker and or Travis Etienne. I think that their intel and their scouting and their research that they did at the combine and everything like that told them Jeremiyah Love's going in the top 7 picks. To who? Is it a trade up? Is it what? I don't think he escapes the top 7. And when we're looking at the teams that are possibly going to take him, I think it comes down to 2, maybe 3 finalists. The Giants, 100%. The Titans, I think, are certainly on Jeremiyah Love watch, 100%. Their best running back right now is Tony Pollard, who, is a bottom 3rd starting running back, I would say. And then another team I'd throw in there is Washington Commanders. Like I said, I think that it's very realistic that they go ahead and take Jeremiyah Love. Their biggest weakness coming into this offseason was edge rusher. They addressed that with Odafe Oweh. Now, was that the best use of financial resources? Who knows? But you could say they shored up the position, quote unquote. They still have a big hole at running back because as much as I like Bill, I don't know if he's going to be your franchise player there. So, again, I'm thinking Tennessee is fairly likely. The Giants, I'd be pretty shocked if he's past 5, but if he gets past 5, to me, he's a Washington Commander, 100%.
Now, let's say, for the sake of argument, Washington decides to go on the defensive side of the ball. Suddenly, I don't know about you, maybe you look at it differently. If no one trades up or no one trades back, suddenly it feels like Jeremiyah Love goes on a pretty crazy slide here, right? And this is, again, assuming no one trades back, which someone is going to trade up. If Jeremiyah Love falls out of the top 10, a team is trading up to take him, right?
100%. 100%.
What team, if someone were to trade up because Jeremiyah Love slides, what team do you expect that to be? Because I have someone in mind here. I have 2 teams, personally, in mind here that I think could absolutely make that move, and I think it will make them much better.
So you're saying the Saints are on the clock at pick 8. He's fallen
Mhm.
past Washington, Tennessee, New York. Saints are on the clock at 8. Who's trading up at the Saints? The Rams.
Saints are even. Wow,
The Rams.
Rams.
The Rams.
I didn't think
Dude,
about that one.
they're
That would
going
be
all in.
horrifying.
They're going all
I
in. Like,
didn't even
if
remotely
you are,
think about that. That would
if
be
you're pushing your, and
terrifying.
they would only have to move up 5 spots, which is incredibly expensive in the top 10 of the draft. But I
It's
mean,
worth it.
they're within striking range. Number one. Number two. Do we put it past the Rams for an office? Number three. If they're putting all of their chips in the table, they're putting all of their chips in the table. So if any team, in my opinion, is going to trade up for Jeremiah Love in that 8 to 9 range, whatever, it would be the Rams. It would be the Rams. They're gonna build the Avengers, and like they're gonna build the Avengers with the Infinity Stones. Like they do not care. Nothing is gonna get in their way from winning the Super Bowl next year, and nobody's gonna be able to stop them. Like they are like, we have a 1 to 2 year window. We don't care about F them picks. Coincidentally, it was from this team as well. They don't care about the picks. They don't care about what it does for the future. Yada yada yada. How good can we be in 2026, 2027? The Rams would be the team to trade up, in my opinion, and that scares the
It's
shit out of
like,
me to say, but it would happen.
yeah, it's like you're teleporting back in time and stealing Todd Gurley from the old.
I was just about to say that. I was
Yeah,
like, man, if the prime Todd Gurley could be on this team, it's like
yeah,
so. And like Blake Corum and Kyron Williams are fine.
they're
I don't know.
good.
I
They're
don't know
not
that they're.
Jeremiah Love.
I don't
They're
know that
not
they're game
Jeremiah Love.
changers at all. Right? Exactly.
Yeah,
So
Jeremiah Love is changing the game.
it's that would like actually just scare the shit out of me. To no effect. Like I'd be like,
It would fit well too.
it would
Like
no 100%
Jeremiah
would.
Love in a Sean McVay offense with the amount of inside and outside zone they run. That
Who
would
was
work.
your team or secondary team that was going to
My
potentially
team
make this
feels
trade?
really underwhelming now. I was gonna say Minnesota.
They make sense. They make sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Not
It
as cool as the
definitely makes
Rams,
sense.
but
No,
yeah,
they're not the Rams. Yeah, sorry I didn't speak into existence the superest super team of all super teams. I'm
my hope
sorry
is that
about
if
that.
I speak it into existence, it won't happen. I'm trying to
Mhm.
jinx it, okay? I'm trying to put it out
Yeah.
there. But Minnesota, you think from 18 they could get up to
Maybe
8?
not 8, but like at 11.
Well,
Let's say
I think
Jeremiah Love falls to 11.
if I'm Mickey Loomis, here's the thing. The draft gets really interesting at 8 because if I'm Mickey Loomis and Jeremiah Love's available at 8, I'm not going to take him. And we know the Chiefs aren't going to take him. So either I'm trading a bounty of picks to a team to jump up, or the Chiefs are going to do that right behind me if Jeremiah Love gets past me. So the Saints at 8 would be the spot where if he's there, which I kind of doubt, but if he's there, teams are going to call the Saints, because the Saints are not going to take a player and then let
Well,
Kansas City get that bounty of
this is
picks.
my thing. What if the Saints fell in love with someone that's there at 8? Right? Let's say
I
there's
mean,
some player they adore at 8 and they don't want to miss out on him. Right?
well,
You trade back with the Rams, all of a sudden that player is very likely to be gone. I don't know who that player might be. But let's say
it's
I don't
Carnell
know.
Tate. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
Carnell Tate,
Well, Carnell Tate. Maybe even, let's say Reuben Bain. I don't know. Let's say Reuben Bain fell this far. Saints aren't going to potentially miss out on that, right?
I don't know.
I mean,
If I'm the
that's
Saints,
just, I'm speaking purely hypotheticals here. But let's say the board does fall that way, right? Well, I think the Chiefs still go on the defensive side of the ball, and maybe they do like Mansour Delane that much. Again, hypotheticals here, a lot of ifs and buts, but that's what the draft is. Let's keep that in mind. I think there's a world where we're looking at Miami at 11 controlling the Jeremiah Love market.
yeah.
I do.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting.
And if that's the case, well, Kevin O'Connell, if I'm you, I'm pretty tired of what you've had at running back the past few years, personally. And I do think you have a good enough defense. Yeah, you haven't figured out the quarterback position, but let's be honest, you're not going to figure it out with the 11th pick this year or the 18th pick this year.
Yeah.
I'm willing to make that move. And suddenly, Kyler Murray's job looks a lot easier with the guy that can make plays off a check down like Jeremiah Love.
All right. I just looked up, they have the NFL trade value chart for draft picks and everything.
Oh, you're doing this. You're making a numbers game. I hate it.
Yeah, because I'm a dweeb. That's why.
Yeah.
So this is what it would say. Patrick, if you're the Vikings, would you trade pick 18 plus a 2026, so plus a second round pick this year, plus an additional third-round pick. So a first, a second, and a third to move up 10 spots in the draft to get Jeremiyah Love. Would you do that?
Yeah. I mean, like, let's be honest. If you look at the Vikings, right? You said all that was this year's draft capital. Let's be honest. Your biggest issue as a team, and honestly, the reason that you weren't in like Super Bowl contention last year was just the quarterback position. And none of the stuff that you're giving up to make that move will help you get a quarterback anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because spoiler alert for when we talk about quarterbacks in a week or whenever we talk about them, it's not a very good quarterback class. Crazy. I know. You've heard it a million times. Yeah, guys, Ty Simpson isn't going to be the next Tom Brady. I'm sorry. But like
the Clay Klubnik disrespect is just unreal at this point. But go on.
But like that's the reality here. You aren't gonna take that next jump that you absolutely need to take unless you get a quarterback. Hopefully Kyler Murray's that guy. But you know what's going to allow you to have a higher floor, no matter whether you have the quarterback or not? Having an elite running back. And the Vikings have had the opposite for the past few years. They've been very, very weak at running back recently. And I think getting a Jeremiyah Love here, listen, I talk poorly about running backs and the position value very often. I'm not big on dedicating high resources to a running back. But I do think the Minnesota Vikings are a team where the defense is great. You have good wide receivers. You have a great offensive mind there. You're lacking just one thing, and it's the most important position. Why not add a running back?
But I'm optimistic about Kyler in Minnesota, so I would even be more.
Well, then you're more inclined to do
that I'm more inclined to do something like that. But obviously that would be a big trade up for the Vikings to go and get Jeremiyah Love. I want to talk about another potential big trade, and that's involving A.J. Brown, the Eagles' superstar wide receiver. Now, listen, a lot has been said about A.J. Brown. There's been a lot of drama. There's been a lot of reading books on the sideline during the NFC Championship game and going on Madden streams and telling this guy to not play him in fantasy. I actually still can't believe that was a real situation that happened. The drama in Philly is palpable. You could cut the tension in the air with a butter knife, right? And Howie Roseman has been not very secretive about his asking price for A.J. Brown, which is sky high. And originally when he said that, it was going to be a first plus, I was like, man, get out of here. Like, you're not getting a first plus for A.J. Brown. That's ridiculous. However, with the receiver trades that we've seen so far this offseason, most notably DJ Moore going to the Buffalo Bills and Jalen Waddle going to the Denver Broncos, one thing is very apparent, that it is a seller's market right now. It is good to be a team selling a veteran wide receiver. So, I mean, over the course of these last few weeks, I've really thought that Howie Roseman kind of digging his heels in the ground and staying on that price is actually going to pay off, because he might end up getting the price that he wanted, which was a first-round pick plus. How much do you think Philly can realistically get in return, given the type of player A.J. Brown is, and given the deals that we've seen so far this offseason?
I think it's more about the player A.J. Brown is perceived to be. I think it's more about that. Because I will be honest, A.J. Brown's film last year was kind of buns. It was kind of terrible. But also Kevin Petula. So let's ignore everything that happened with Philly's offense last year entirely. For everywhere from Jalen Hurts to the backup right tackle. Like, everything that we saw should probably be ignored. If A.J. Brown, I mean, if DJ Moore went for a second rounder, yeah, man, you're getting a first rounder out of A.J. Brown. Now, I know the market has kind of been tarnished a little bit because Howie Roseman's letting it be known that they're trying to shop him. The personality issues are real. But again, DJ Moore went for a second rounder. Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle went for a first plus.
Jalen Waddle's a good player. But he can't really stay on the field.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown, yeah, he might have issues off the field, but at least he's playing on the field.
And to his credit, his issues off the field are not prison, are not, a domestic charge or a gun charge. He's just...
Oh, I'm going to say something. I kind of have a strange take with this, if you don't
Go ahead.
mind.
No, go ahead. Solo cam for you.
No, because here's the thing. This take makes me sound like a terrible person. Like an awful person, but fine, I'll say it. I do think for the sake of, in a vacuum, the performance on the football field and the state of your team, this is terrible that I'm going to say this, but I do think in terms of just the product on the field and the culture of your football team, I do think it is better for a team to have a guy who went to prison, goes to prison, and gets suspended than a guy who actively goes on social media and gets headlines. You love that, don't you? You find that hysterical.
I love the prefacing that you did first off. You were like, I'm getting all my bases covered. Nobody's canceling me. This is not going to ruin my
No,
career.
don't get me wrong. I don't like Rashee Rice, and I do
No.
not like a lot of bad people.
Yeah.
And I would rather as a not football coach and a not football decision maker, would rather a little bit of a diva with a big personality than a literal like
XYZ
person that
crime.
beats up their wife.
XYZ real
Yeah.
life crime. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if I was a football coach or an NFL GM, I would rather Stephon Diggs is off-field issues than AJ Brown's off-field issues.
So what?
Again,
Stephon Diggs wants to
that
party
sounds
on a yacht with
terrible.
models and have a mysterious substance in his bag. Who cares? He played in the Super Bowl, is what Patrick is
I
arguing.
meant the
for.
more recent off-field issues
I know.
with
I'm
Stephon
messing with
Diggs.
you. Yes, that is fair. But I do think, you said, last year, basically throw everything you saw from Philadelphia's offense in the garbage. Jalen Hurts did throw a pick six to a flag football player this past week, so I don't know if you saw that. I'm surprised
He was
AJ
the one
Brown
that threw
did.
one to Logan Paul. No, he got
was Justin
sacked
Jefferson.
by Logan Paul. That's
Yeah,
it.
Justin
Jalen Hurts
Jefferson.
got sacked by Logan Paul. That's what.
Yeah,
it was.
that was weird. I'm surprised that AJ Brown didn't like subtweet him and was like just said some vague like stay in your lane or something, like just very AJ Brown coded messaging. But regardless, what are some teams, or who are some teams rather, that you think would pull the trigger, give Howie Roseman his asking price or close to it to pull off a trade for AJ Brown? Because there's one team that everybody thinks about, and that's the New England Patriots. Clearly is probably the betting favorite. But outside of New England, what? Yeah, yes, as it should be. As it should be. Outside of New England, do you think that there's a team either A, more likely to trade for A.J. Brown, or B, kind of a sneaky under-the-radar contender? We heard rumors that the Rams were trying to get it done before the Trent McDuffie trade. That would have been very surprising had that happened.
And then they would have shopped Devontae.
And they would have shopped Devontae, which is
I
interesting.
think quietly makes them a net worse team. I don't know how you feel on that.
No, they're definitely
I would
better
rather
with
Devontae Adams than AJ Brown. Personally.
Whoa. That's
meant to Puka Nacua.
As a
I
what?
think Devontae gives you a new aspect to the offense that Nacua doesn't. I think AJ Brown gives you a very similar skill set to Puka Nacua.
Yeah, he's a better complement, but AJ Brown would make them a much better team in my opinion. But
I don't think so.
We don't need to
better
get caught up on
complement
that.
makes you a better team. No, I do think it's real though. Because who knows? Maybe they still do go after AJ Brown. We don't know. Maybe the market gets lowered, and all of a sudden they're going to be the team that adds AJ Brown.
Important to know they do still have two. Or no, I'm sorry, they don't have 2 first-round picks anymore. They gave one to Kansas City. But so maybe your answer is the Rams. But who else do you think would potentially be in line to make a trade for AJ Brown?
Well, I think we kind of have to play off of what the betting markets say a little bit with the Patriots, right? And I'm not going to say the Patriots as the answer, but I'm saying because the Patriots are this team that, they just made it to the Super Bowl last year and they're going to add AJ Brown. We can't let that happen. We're the Buffalo Bills. We're going to make a move of our own. I think that's a very likely possibility here. I think the Bills could be the team that adds AJ Brown. They know they can't draft well, so trade away every draft pick you possibly can. That way you don't have the opportunity to draft poorly. Add AJ Brown. All of a sudden, DJ Moore's your wide receiver too, like he should be. And then you feel a lot better about the entire state of that team. I also think they'd be damn good if AJ Brown is still the AJ Brown that we want him to be.
Don't think I didn't catch your sleek diss on the DJ Moore as a wide receiver 2 argument, but we won't open
no,
up that.
I threw it out there just for you, Mike.
I think we'll but whatever. The Bills is very interesting though, and I hadn't thought of the Bills. I thought kind of that trade was dead in the water once they got DJ Moore. but you are kind of right where it's like, hey,
Sentence that should never be muttered by anyone ever.
yeah, like if you can't draft, might as well use the draft picks to get a guy like AJ Brown. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I think that's very similar to what we're seeing the Rams doing, where it's like, damn, our division rival, who was beneath us for a few years, just went to the Super Bowl. In the Seahawks case, won the Super Bowl. In the Patriots case, went to the Super Bowl. And it's like, man, we're this team that everybody picked, everybody's favorite. Like, we gotta load up. Rams did that with Trent McDuffie, and the Bills did that with DJ Moore, and then could also do that with AJ Brown. Would be.
I'm sorry, I can't not laugh when you mentioned DJ Moore and like
no, we're
the
just gonna roll past
same light as the Trent McDuffie trade.
But using your first two draft picks on two veteran expensive receivers who had down years in 2025 would be the most Brandon Beane thing to ever Brandon Beane. I mean, that is like the pinnacle
could work. That's the thing. Like, as funny as it sounds, I could see AJ Brown in a Buffalo Bills uniform going off for like 1,300 yards.
No, 100%. But I mean, I don't know. This team to me has too many holes to fill to be just throwing away draft picks. Like, yes, AJ Brown is worth a first, but he might be. I mean, they have pick 28. Howie Roseman is going to want more than a first. He's going to want a first and a fifth. Probably that extra fifth they got in the Chicago trade. That'd probably be the deal for AJ Brown is pick 28 and the fifth they got from Chicago. I mean, that you're not going to have. That means you're going to have all these holes on defense, especially, and you're going to give up 3 of your top 4 or 5 draft picks. I don't know that I would. I don't know that makes sense. I think
it makes sense because Brandon Beane should stop betting on himself because he's incapable of drafting good players. It really every now and then the blind squirrel will find a nut.
Yeah.
But you look at the last few draft classes. We're looking at like Kyer Elam going round 1, man, and that's not even Coleman, the worst of it.
Yeah,
it only gets worse.
Yeah, Dalton Kincaid is like the peak of his drafting the last few years,
and that's not even a good first rounder.
He's like an acceptable starter. Like that's like the tier.
I mean, I'll give Beane his credit. Before 2020. He was good at drafting somehow.
We're talking about the pandemic, bro. That's how we know we need to stop defending him. We're talking about the pandemic. It was six years ago was the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Crazy to think about. But, okay, so Buffalo is one that you're going to throw out there. And honestly, I'm fine with that. I have a sleeper team that might make sense. And I don't know how it would work compensation-wise. It'd be a little tricky. It'd probably involve, if I had to guess, it would probably involve a first-round pick swap and then this other team adds like a second or a third or something. I could see Tampa Bay making a trade for AJ Brown, man.
Ooh,
that'd
be cool.
Are in a division that is very, very winnable. Should have won it last year, totally collapsed. And they saw their franchise icon, their cornerstone, the best player arguably in the history of their franchise in my lifetime, which is, I'm counting 2002 on. I know Warren said Derek Brooks, all those guys got there before that, so chill out, Buccaneers fans, chill out. Arguably the best player in a Buccaneers uniform in my lifetime, and they saw him go to San Francisco. And all of a sudden, I know they have Emeka Egbuka, but outside of him, outside of a rookie who really, from a production standpoint, had a great month and then didn't really do much the rest of the year. Like that's the story of his rookie season. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm saying production-wise, he really had a phenomenal month and then wasn't great the rest of the year. Chris Godwin, I don't think you can depend on him given the injuries, given the age. Why not go get A.J. Brown? Again, it would probably be a first-round pick swap plus a second or third. But Tampa Bay wants to take back control of their division. Like, they do not want to concede this thing to Bryce Young and the Panthers or Tyler Shuck and the Saints or whoever the hell the Falcons are going to start a quarterback. Tua. Yeah, whoever the hell the Falcons are going to start next year. They want to grab this thing by the wheel and say, this is our division. We won it for like 5 years in a row. We're taking back control. We're going to get A.J. Brown. Now, as a side note to this, and I'm playing devil's advocate against myself, adding A.J. Brown's personality to Baker Mayfield's personality will either be the greatest thing to ever happen in Tampa Bay, or it would be a literal nuclear bomb ready to go off in South Florida. And I don't know which one, but from a pure entertainment standpoint, I hope it's the latter. I think that would be awesome.
Well, I think the latter was the bomb to Florida. in
Yeah,
that one.
not
I think that's how you
figurative
stretch
bomb,
it.
guys. Figurative bomb. Okay, I got to start prefacing stuff. Okay, figurative bomb in Florida
Okay,
because
okay.
their personalities rub it. Like Baker Mayfield has
Oh no, I'm with
one
you.
three interception game in prime time, and all of a sudden AJ Brown is like he's gonna start quoting like Dune or something. It's gonna be incredible. Like I am so excited to see the shenanigans that they come up with. But I don't know. What say you about Tampa Bay, the good old Buccaneers?
I mean, so I think it'd be cool. Like that's one I didn't really think too much about. But that would be awesome, really. Like AJ Brown, what he would add to that Bucks offense is kind of a do-it-all guy. Because I feel like that's what people forget about AJ Brown. Like with Tennessee, he was the best yards after catch receiver in the sport. Then he went to Philly and became the best like vertical threat in the sport because of how good he is with the 50-50 ball. I mean, people forget, like, you could throw this guy into an offense where you want to run all these slants and all these in breakers and just have him dominate after the catch. He could do that and dominate. Or you could have him as the main vertical threat, stretch the field, and he'll do that and dominate. Like, AJ Brown is that good, and he's quietly a really good route runner. So, yeah, like, he's a piece you could kind of throw into any offense. And I do think the Buccaneers need a guy where you have all the schematic versatility in the world, where you can say, like, yeah, we're going to have you run a slant this play, then we're going to have you run a go route, and we're expecting just as much dominance on both of those plays because you do have a full route tree, right? I think
Yeah.
that's something they need. I don't remember the last time, really, the Buccaneers had someone that had, like, a full route tree like that. I mean, like, Mike Evans, as great as he was, you throw him a slant route, he's not taking it to the house.
I can think of a guy. The only problem is that this same guy took off his jersey and was shirtless in the
Well,
middle of a
yeah. Yep.
play. So,
Which AJ Brown might do that too.
yeah, he is probably
Don't
liable to
rule
do
it
that as
out.
well. But you did win a Super Bowl with Antonio Brown, so
Yeah.
you give and you
And
take.
Philly
But
won a Super Bowl with AJ Brown. Like,
and
listen, maybe that's just the type of guy Florida needs.
yeah,
Maybe that
maybe.
is. Maybe they need a little bit of insanity there. Like a
Well,
guy like
like the
Mike
Florida
Evans is a
man.
little bit Mike
Yeah,
Evans is a little bit too level-headed.
yeah, he
You
is.
know,
Yeah, he is.
they need something to completely juxtapose that.
Yes, I
So
agree.
yeah, man, I say an AJ Brown in Tampa would be fun. Now, if I wanted to give a little bit of the devil's advocate perspective here, I think if you're the Buccaneers, you could sell yourself on a receiver core of Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan. I think you could sell yourself on that being like a really, really good wide receiver trio. Because if, let's say, everything goes the best it possibly could, you're looking at Chris Godwin being a damn good receiver for you, very reliable player, able to stay fully healthy. Emeka Egbuka, let's say he takes that step and he can consistently be the guy he was early in the season. Chris Godwin's now able to play in the slot. That's where he does his best work.
Yeah.
And then Jalen McMillan, quietly, I'm a big Jalen McMillan guy. He runs routes at a really high level, like really good route runner. You could sell yourself on that. Definitely,
Tez Johnson
at
would
least,
be your number 4 receiver, which is a pretty solid
yeah, exactly.
change up.
They're deep. They even had Sterling Shepard last year. I don't know if he's still there, but like they were a deep team at the receiver position, and that's kind of my thing here. Where I look at it and I just say, like, if you're Tampa, could you really make an aggressive move at the receiver position when? Yeah, I understand how you could say the receiver core isn't that great, but there's a valid argument to say that the receiver core is, one of the best aspects of your team.
Yeah.
So I think it's tough.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. The other option that I guess they could have is to take a receiver with pick 15 if they feel so inclined. We are going to get into our receiver rankings. Actually, Patrick is going to get into his receiver rankings, and I will be reacting to them, telling him if he's right or wrong, obviously.
The way you phrase that.
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. No, I'm still salty over that DJ Moore diss. So
I would do it, but he's going to be the idiot.
He's going to be the idiot giving out
If
the
something
dumb
goes
rankings.
wrong, it's on him.
Yeah, it is. It is. When they meme us, when they make these graphics, these are his rankings. Just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go ahead and get right into it.
I do think this receiver class is a little bit underrated. Not really because people are talking like it's bad, but I think we've been so spoiled at the receiver position in recent years where people are expecting every year there has to be a Jamar Chase and then the next best guy has to be this other elite receiver. It's not like that. I definitely think it's lacking in terms of depth. But if we're looking at top end talent, I think there's some guys here. Like, I'll be honest, looking at my list, I have 4 guys that I think are very much worth like a top 30 pick. Very,
Yeah.
very much worth. And
I don't think that there is a Jamar Chase.
no,
I don't think
no.
that there's a really top end elite Marvin Harrison, top end elite receiver. I think that
Oh,
there is a clump of receivers that you could feel really good taking about in the first 40 to 45
yep.
picks. And
Yeah.
that's where I think the strength of is this draft. Now, after
Mhm.
those 45 picks, do we
I
fall off a
think
cliff a
it's
little bit?
not deep. It
Yeah.
it definitely lacks in terms
That's
of the
why I didn't
depth
say deep.
that
I
we've seen.
said, I guess, top heavy is, I guess, the right word to
It's
use
top
there.
heavy, but not like top heavy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
It's
top heavy in the
very
sense of
15 to 30 is like 15 to 45, those 30 picks.
yeah.
We're going to
Yep.
see a lot of receivers go, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
But,
it kind of sucks because there isn't like that top guy.
yeah.
We might see a team take a more underwhelming receiver at 7
Yeah.
or something like that. That's very much possible here. But I will say there is in my top 7. There's 2 guys that I can see them lighting the league on fire. But my number 1 isn't one of those guys. I do think he'll be very good, but I think that there's 2 guys in this class that could potentially like be a Jamar Chase, right? Potentially really be like best receiver in football. And while I really like my number 1, I wouldn't say he has that type of ceiling. My number 1 is Mekhi Lemon. And it's weird because I kind of started by knocking him, but I'm telling you, this guy's more than capable of being a spectacular receiver. His route running prowess really is the big thing. And for me, I'm big on route running. I think that's so important. We've seen guys like Michael Thomas in 2019 light the league on fire as a route runner. We saw Cooper Kupp do the same thing in 2021. Being a great route runner, it makes such a big difference. And Mekhi Lemon, mainly out of the slot, and that's part of the reason I don't think he could be a Jamar Chase. But oh man, can he beat you from the slot? What he does all over as a route runner, his ability to sell routes, redirect quick. And not only is he quick, he has some speed to him, man. He really does. Like he has great technique, but he has nuance as a route runner. I think that's the big thing. I think this is a guy that we could see take such a large load as a player here, gets such a large workload. I really think he's someone that you could give 120 targets, 150 targets even as a player, and he'll reward you consistently on that. He's just so explosive as a route runner when he needs to be, but he also knows when to tempo it and slow it down a little bit. And then he gets the ball and he's being speedy and outrunning everyone and creating explosives in that light. I'm a big Mekhi Lemon guy. I really do love what he does. Now, he is only 5'11. He's short. That lowers the ceiling, and that's why I'm saying he can't be a Jamar Chase. But oh man, you want someone that could just win you games from the slot and be a consistently reliable piece that can make some of those game-breaking plays when he has the ball in his hands. I mean, it's hard to find someone much better than Mekhi Lemon. Again, limited to the slot, but what he does as a route runner, like that'll give defensive coordinators nightmares. I'm again, Mekhi Lemon doesn't have the highest ceiling in the class, but again, like route running's the name of the game as a modern receiver, and I think that's his big advantage.
So I'll start by saying you're correct because I had Mekhi Lemon as number 1 as well. I debated between him and Cardinal Tate, and I think recently I've given the edge slightly to Mekhi Lemon. One of the other things that you didn't mention that I noticed a lot, he is fearless down the middle. Like it doesn't matter.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he is not timid at all. He wants all the smoke. It does not matter. To your slot comment, I will point, and he's not similar stylistically. Well, sort of, but That's what they said about Jackson Smith and Jigba coming out of the draft, which I never thought was a fair criticism. They said, "Oh, he's because that's all he did at Ohio State was playing the slot." And then Shane Waldron, threw him bubble screens from the slot, and they were like, "Oh, he's a slot guy. He's a slot guy." And it's not that he can only play the slot. It's that his coaches only put him in the slot. I would imagine, and I know he's a bit smaller, 5'11", he's not the biggest thing in the world. But I do think this is a guy that can go outside and be a dynamic route runner from any part in the field, right? We saw that with Jackson Smith and Jigba this past season. He led the league in not only yards in total, but in yards from the exterior, right? So I do think that he's not limited to being a slot-only guy. I love his toughness. I love his route running. The size, like you said. Speed is pretty sneaky in my opinion. He's not
He's not
Tyreek
a burner. Not a
Not
burner.
Tyreek Hill, but he's quick. He
Again,
can
I
get it
think
going.
he's quick and his ability to speed up out of breaks.
Yeah.
I think that's something you see it as a route runner,
Yeah.
but more importantly, you see it after the catch.
Yeah,
right?
the acceleration
After the
and
catch.
the deceleration in
Yep.
and out of routes is really good.
Yeah, exactly. And when he gets the ball, he'll work a move on a defender. He'll juke a guy, and he'll do it damn well. I mean, again, I do think he's more exclusive to the slot. JSN, I think, is more of the enigma.
He's the
That's pretty
Njigba,
close.
you mean?
Yeah, he's the Njigba, right? But
Please
in
don't
all
please don't
seriousness,
subscribe. I'm sorry.
in all seriousness, though, I do think just because of the frame, and he's not someone I really trust to beat press. And I also think when you have a guy that runs routes like that, you want him to be able to threaten corners both outside and inside. You can't do that as much when you're an outside receiver. Now, if you put him there every once in a while, sure. But I think you mainly want this guy in the slot.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So we're in agreement that Mekhi Lemon's the best receiver in this draft, at least number one right now. Who is your number two receiver in the draft? Because you said Mekhi Lemon's number one, but doesn't have the highest ceiling. Is this number two guy on your list the guy with the highest ceiling?
I wouldn't say the highest, but could I see him being maybe the best receiver in football? Yes. I do think there's someone else with a higher ceiling, but his floor is a hell of a lot lower. So there's someone else later in this list that I really think has that elite ceiling. Jordan Tyson is my wide receiver too. If not for the injury history, wide receiver one. Undoubtedly, wide receiver one. Because what did I say defines you as a receiver in the modern league? Route running. You need to know how to run routes. You need to be a good route runner. And Mekhi Lemon's a very good route runner. Jordan Tyson's an even better one. Jordan Tyson, not only is he taller, he's 6'2", but man, you have no idea what this guy's doing. You see a lot of guys, even if they're good route runners, they'll telegraph it a little bit. They're kind of show their movement a little bit early, and an elite corner is going to pick up on it. Jordan Tyson, there's no tell. When we talk about making everything look the same until it's different, there's not many receivers I've seen coming out of college that do it quite like Jordan Tyson. And he's another guy who just knows how to tempo the routes while also having sudden breaks. Can go 0 to 100
I think
in a second.
the reason for that is? Like
what?
Like what he does specifically, where you're talking about, like, doesn't telegraph the routes, doesn't give the DBs that extra half second to recognize what they're doing. Fluid hips. Like, people think I'm joking. Like, DBs are trained, especially in the higher levels of football, collegiate, pro. Watch the guy's hips. His hips will telegraph where he's going. Because if you think about it, you move, and you guys can't see me because I'm cut off at the waist, but, like, you move your hips before your torso turns, before your legs turn, before your feet move. So the hips are the number one indicator normally of what direction you're going. So when you watch a guy's hips and his hips are staying square and he's only doing it at the last possible second to get to his route, well, that puts you at a disadvantage because you're not able to jump a route, guess a route, whatever. His fluidity in his hips are, I think, in my opinion, what make him such a good route runner. So I wanted to agree with what you said, but also provide, I think, additional context just based on what I've noticed.
Yeah,
he's got hips like Shakira. They don't lie. That's really what I want to say.
Well, that's the thing, though. They do lie. That's why he's such a good route runner. They lie all the time.
He's not lying. Yeah, I guess you're right. They do lie. Yeah, maybe that is. They do lie a little bit, which is good.
Yeah, it's great. Like, it really is. His route running is a work of art a lot of the time. And he runs every route in the book. Like
Yes.
Mekhi Lemon, as much as I like him as a route runner, he doesn't run every route. He doesn't. And this is another guy. Put him in the slot, watch him work outside and inside. Oh my God, he's going to carve you up. But if you want to keep him as an outside guy, well, he's 6'2". He has the frame. Someone presses him. He has such a good release package. It's very difficult to press him.
I saw a comparison to him the other day, and they said Zay
Mhm.
Flowers, and I was kind of scratching my head
That's crazy to me.
I'm like, we're thinking Zay Flowers is like 5'9". Like, what are we talking
I think
about?
you get some of the similar route running prowess. I do
Yeah,
think
but
like Flowers was another guy where he's a damn good route runner, man.
Flowers is
But I
quicker
also think
though,
Tyson,
and much
yes,
smaller.
and
Like,
Tyson has a bigger route tree.
right.
You know,
So,
I think Tyson runs more of these.
like for Mekhi Lemon, I saw Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm kind of like, okay, that checks out.
Yeah,
Same size,
I
same
also think
school.
it's helmet scouting a little bit on that, but
Yeah. That
sure,
was the
yeah.
same size, same school. I
Mhm.
get it. But Zay Flowers for Jordan Tyson, I didn't quite understand.
Mhm.
Let's move on to your number
Well,
3. So,
let me just hold on. I need to make it
okay,
clear.
my fault. I didn't realize the
Because
scouting.
if you just look at what I've said about Jordan Tyson, compare it to what I've said about Mekhi Lemon, why the hell is Mekhi Lemon ahead of Jordan Tyson? Because in all honesty, in terms of just their film in a vacuum, Jordan Tyson is the better receiver, and I don't think it's overly close. That's not a knock on Mekhi Lemon. That's just Jordan Tyson, man, his film's electric. Because he could also adjust to the ball and do all that crazy stuff. But the injury history is very concerning. Very concerning. I also think the speed is even worse with Tyson than it is with Mekhi Lemon. Like the speed, I would say Mekhi Lemon is underwhelming as an athlete. I think with Jordan Tyson, the speed is a little bit below average, right? Like that's
Yeah.
where I stand. But
Okay.
along with the speed's only going to be worse because he's coming off a major injury, and it's just the injury history is so concerning. He gets hurt all the time, and the best ability is availability. Now, if he could stay healthy, this guy could be the type of receiver you want to take in the top 5. I do stand by that because he
Interesting.
can track the ball in the air and he could run routes, separate, and he's a really high IQ player. But if he can't stay on the field, I don't really care that much.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I do red flag the injuries as well, so I agree with you there. Who would be on your list on the Patrick power ranking? No, I'll workshop that. Well, you're talking. I'll workshop that. Who is
Well,
number 3 on the wide receiver rankings for you, Patrick?
there's always one, right? There's always one thing about my list that's unconventional, right? This year, everyone's been saying the big three, the big three, the big three at the receiver position. And let me say, so far I've said 2 out of the 3. So surely I'm going to say Carnell Tate right here. Let me clarify. I like Carnell Tate. I think Carnell Tate's awesome. Carnell Tate is not my wide receiver 3. And that's not a knock on Tate. I just think Omar Cooper's awesome. Like, he really is. Another guy, I just love him as a route runner. I think that's the big thing. Like, he has the good release package, but man, at the top of his route, he's twitchy. He's twitchy. And it's like you blink when he's at the top of his post route. You think he's running a corner, and then he's all of a sudden running a post. And it's like, what the hell? Like, he really is able to manipulate guys at the top of his routes very consistently, and he's effortless with it. Like, his route running is really effortless. And if you're looking for just a highlight tape as a route runner, Omar Cooper, I mean, you have a lot of guys falling on the floor trying to follow Omar Cooper in man-to-man coverage. It happens very often. But then, you get the ball up, and he can make the catches outside his frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has that body control you like to see. And his hands, very, very reliable. And then he gets the ball, and it's hard to bring the guy down. I mean, he has some contact balance to him, right? He really does. And what we talked about, his twitchiness at the top of his route, it carries over when he has the ball in his hands. I really do like Omar Cooper a lot. But for the third time, I'm going to say, speed is a little bit lackluster here.
Yeah.
And I also think for someone who can make these catches outside of his frame and do some of the stuff he does with the ball in the air, he needs to play towards the ball a little bit more. I mean, you throw a 50-50 ball his way, he could be a little bit passive sometimes. And I don't really love that. I really don't. And I think that's some of the stuff that kind of limits into the slot. Once again, I think this guy might be a little bit more slot limited. The size isn't great. Not at all, really. And again, I think when you're outside, you need to play towards the football a little bit more. And I don't think Omar Cooper does. But, when you're getting as wide open as he's able to get.
Yeah, but that catch against Penn State, though. Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
One of the most. One of the most ridiculous.
He has some great grabs.
Yeah, no.
I'm
admittedly not super high on Omar Cooper. I don't know when you combine his athleticism and his size, I don't know that it's a guy that I really feel comfortable taking in the first round. I know you feel stronger about him, but
no, I think it's fair. He's lacking the athletic profile that you want to see.
Yeah, he's lacking the traits that make him a good receiver. Otherwise, he's pretty good.
He's lacking the traits that would make him Jamar Chase. And this kind of goes back to what I'm saying. Like, with this class, there's not a lot of those insanely high ceiling guys. There really isn't.
I want to talk about a guy that I do think has the highest ceiling, though, and a guy that you just mentioned a couple minutes ago, Carnell Tate.
You think he has the highest ceiling here?
I'm really high on Carnell Tate. I think we are.
I like him. I wouldn't say that.
I think that we are playing the overshadow game a little bit because Jeremiah Smith is the guy that's getting all the love, getting all the hype. Oh my God, Jeremiah Smith! Can I take him 3 drafts before he's a draftable player? Can I trade away? Can I give you a draft pick in 2030 to take him? I think that there's some of that. I like Carnell Tate a lot. Good size, good speed, very explosive receiver. Part of that is playing at Ohio State, I understand. But 6 touchdown grabs last year of 30 or more yards. Again, the comparison that's thrown around is T. Higgins. I don't know that I agree with the T. Higgins comparison. T. Higgins is he's a better contested catch guy, in my opinion. But Carnell Tate's explosive.
Wow.
He's got some of the athletic traits that you want.
Here.
He's not
in terms of how we evaluate.
He's not the fastest guy. Because he ran 4.5 something at the combine, and everyone was like all but arms. But I really like Carnell Tate. I think that he has the ability to be the best receiver in this draft, and I'm curious why he's at least number 4 on your list.
He is number 4. And let me say, if Washington decided they needed a wide receiver and they took him at 7, it wouldn't be a mistake. Like, this is not a David Bailey situation where it's like, oh, yeah, I think this guy sucks and he's going to be a bust. It's not that at all. I just wanted to give these other 3 guys their flowers. I do like Carnell Tate, but I do disagree with a decent amount of your evaluation here because I don't think he's insanely explosive. Like, I really think he lacks in that area. I think this is a guy who I don't like the play strength much. He doesn't really make defenders miss. He's not overly powerful as a runner. But I think he makes those contested catches like no one else in this class. Really. Like, he's amazing with the contested catches. I think the T. Higgins.
I didn't say he was bad. I think T. Higgins is like one of the best. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't go as far as to say T. Higgins.
Here's where I'm going to give him flowers where you don't. I would say in terms of the contested catches, I mean, who's better? Surratt?
Yes.
In this class?
I would take Elijah Surratt 100%.
Okay, so Surratt.
But that's also, to be fair, that's also because he had Mendoza, who was pinpoint accurate.
Yeah, but I think it's okay. Maybe you have Surratt over him, and I think that's fair. Like, Surratt makes some great 50-50 catches, and I like David Boston as a 50-50 ball guy. I would much rather Carnell Tate, though. I really would.
I'm more caught up on the fact that you don't think he's explosive. I mean, it's 17 yards.
I don't love it. I don't think. Now, define what you describe as an explosive receiver. Maybe
a guy that could take the top off. Is he a track athlete going to burn you? No, but I think he has the ability to make big plays. I mean, he averaged 17 yards per catch.
Yeah, okay, so we have different definitions here.
He had 6 catches of 30+ yards, 6 touchdown catches of 30+ yards. To me, that's explosive. That led the nation.
So this is the thing. When I say explosive, not the ability.
You mean explosive athlete?
Yes, explosive athlete.
He's not an explosive athlete. He's an explosive playmaker. Is I guess the distinction.
Yep, and I completely agree.
Okay,
but I would say in terms of you get to the top of your route, now explode and make it an in-breaker, or explode and make it a post. That doesn't happen there. He lacks some of that. He lacks some of that explosive juice that I want to see in an athlete at the receiver position. Now, again, You throw this guy a 50-50 ball, doesn't really matter how much separation he got. This guy might come down with it. Like, he really is that type of 50-50 ball receiver, and I love him for it. I mean, his ability to track the ball in the air, he makes some high point catches very consistently. The hands are very reliable. The body control.
Yes, but for a guy who's going to be and I feel like we're on the opposite ends of this argument. I like him more than you do, but I mean, he's
you
6'2".
like him more than you do, but you're talking him down, and I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's more explosive than you do, but I think he's less good in the 50-50 ball. I mean, he's got okay size. He's 6'2", $190. Like, that's fine.
Well, and I think he lacks the strength, and it shows up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. T. Higgins is not the comp because T. Higgins will pluck the ball out of the air. T. Higgins is like 6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, and now I want to move over to his route running because I think that's like, on one hand, like in some areas, big strength. But some coaches are going to look at it and say, no way, I don't like his route running. Because he's a victim of kind of the route tree issue. Certain routes, comebacks, right? Love them. Curls, love them.
Yeah.
So snag routes, love them. Stuff where like he's raking towards the quarterback, love them. But in terms of like dig routes, slants, a lot of the stuff where he has to break inside, I think he's not sharp enough as a cutter, to really run some of that stuff.
And that's, to me, that's an interesting point because if a lot of times when we question a guy's route running in college, we'll say, oh, well, the coaching. He's got the best receiver coach in the nation of probably our lifetime in college receiver coaches.
I think we're just looking at a guy who sells vertical very well, and the routes that kind of work off of that.
Yeah.
He does very well. I think he runs the Keenan Allen route tree at a very high level. But when you ask him to kind of be a more different receiver, there's someone who's running these in breakers and stuff like that, he isn't great. So I think he's very particular. I think there's a niche that he fills. There's some teams that would love to have a Carnell Tate, though. And that's, again, where I say, like, if he's your number one, I have no disagreement. I just think Omar Cooper has more versatility to his game. Jordan Tyson definitely has more versatility. Yeah. And I think there are more teams that are using a guy like Mekhi Lemon than a guy like Carnell Tate currently.
Okay. We can agree on that. So let's round out your top five here, Patrick. Who do you have as your fifth best receiver in this draft class?
Chris Brazzell. We were talking about highest ceiling, right? And even though I love Jordan Tyson, I think in theory, if he is able to get over the injury woes and some of that stuff, he can be that Jamar Chase tier of receiver. But he still wouldn't be my top in terms of the ceiling. Because Chris Brazzell, oh my God, this guy can be a dog. And a younger Patrick Seifer with less experience scouting would have been fooled again. The same way I was fooled by A.D. Mitchell. The same way. Because A.D. Mitchell, people that have listened to the podcast and been following my scouting content for a while would know at receiver every year, I kind of tend to have a guy. And that guy, I normally heavily disagree with the consensus. Now, a lot of times I was wrong. But one time the guy was Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm going to only talk about the good and not say any of the names of the bad. I hope you don't know any of the names of the bad. And if you do, don't you dare say them, Mike. Don't you say one. Xavier Hutchinson. Don't say one. A.D. Mitchell. Don't do it.
I'm still on the A.D. Mitchell train, so I can't cast.
I'm not off of it. I'll say that. I'm not off the A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah. You're looking out the window, but you're not. Yeah.
But I had him as the wide receiver too in that class. Like over Neighbors, over Adunze. Like it was bad. Like it was bad. So
he's played with Daniel Jones and now in the Jets. Like you're right. You're never wrong. Yeah. You're just early. We'll say.
Yeah. Yep. Geno Smith will unlock him. Trust. But in all seriousness,
you keep throwing strays at me. What the hell's going on tonight, man? You just keep throwing haymakers at me for no reason.
In all seriousness, though, he's 6'4", and maybe the best route runner in the class when he wants to be.
Don't forget he ran 4.3 in the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, and he ran a 4.3. So It's like, in terms of the profile, Holy, like,
Yeah.
what is there not to like
Yep.
in terms of the profile? And then you watch him play. Dudes are falling on the floor damn near every time they're being asked to play man coverage on the guy. 50-50 balls. He wins them consistently.
Yeah.
And he runs the full route tree. He's not like the other Tennessee receivers. He isn't like Jalen Hyatt. He isn't like Cedric Tillman. Like
I was thinking Jalen Hyatt's probably the one that people are going to associate him with the most.
He ran a full route tree. He ran it all, and he was a damn good at it. Jalen Hyatt just ran 9 routes.
He ran nines and slants. That was his route.
Yeah, that was all he could do. But again, a younger Patrick Seifert would see all that and say, oh my God, he's the wide receiver 1 in this class. But I'm a changed man. I am. He has a thin frame. Mm-hmm. He is a body catcher.
He's a little lanky, yeah, for sure.
He's a body catcher. Mediocre release package. He's not overly elusive after the catch. And the most important thing here, and this is way more of a red flag than I once believed it to be, he takes plays off. Indisputably takes plays off. If he knows he's not like the main route, if he knows that he's really only running this go route so someone could get open underneath
clear
him.
Safety up for under.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If he's doing that and he knows it, he's running that go route at half speed.
Yeah.
And I can't help but realize this is literally just A.D. Mitchell all over again. And probably, everything about the evaluation is A.D. Mitchell too. It's the same exact, like my scouting report on this guy is the same exact thing as it was for A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to fall for it again. I'm not going to let it happen. Brazel can be the best receiver in the league, but he could also suck and no one's going to know his name. So I'm going to firmly put him at 5 and just be done with it.
Interesting. I like that. I was looking at, while you were talking, I was looking at the NFL.com scouting profile to find what they said was his comparison. Because I really like looking at their comparisons. Their comparison for him is Christian Watson, which is interesting.
That's
interesting.
That's wrong, is what that is. Christian Watson, another guy, ran 9 routes and nothing else at NDSU.
But he played in FCS, though. Like,
he played it.
Part of that is not his fault.
Show off something. Like, I think when you do a pro comp or something like that, you should look at what the evaluation of the player is like more than you should look at what's the skill set.
I'm with you though. A.D. Mitchell. This is so A.D. Mitchell coded.
He's just A.D. Mitchell for better and for worse. Yeah. He is A.D. Mitchell again. I'm not falling for the propaganda. I'm not letting it happen.
All right.
In terms of my next 2, right? I really like KC Concepcion as like a guy that could come in, be a speedy playmaker for you, be able to, stretch the field vertically, but also be a gadget guy if you need him to be. I like him. I think he's a guy that'll go to a team and have a good role for a team as like a speedy playmaker. The big question with him right now for me is he gained like nearly 20 pounds since the last time we've seen him play a snap. Will he still have that speed? I don't know.
That was the show off for the combine. That wasn't an eating binge or not. That's that NIL check going to those like seafood boils. Like no, he wanted to put on some weight for the combine. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
he's gonna be like 15 pounds lighter come training camp.
And then and maybe he'll lose that weight again. He very much could, but then you still have a struggle with the strength because he wasn't a very strong player, and I do think that affected his game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he is not totally just a gadget guy, but I can't really see him being a wide receiver 1.
No, but I could see him. You put him on the field, and all of a sudden, defenses are saying, "Make sure you have a safety over top. Make sure you bracket him," because even though he could be a gadget guy and be a very good one, he could also be the guy that runs a 9 route and burns you for 80 yards.
Is this Rashid Shaheed, smaller Rashid Shaheed?
No, I think he has a little bit better of a route tree here. Like he's a pretty solid route runner.
Because that's the thought process with Rashid Shaheed, where it's like this guy's not your wide receiver 1, but he does kind of scare the shit out of you because he could burn anybody on the field at any given moment.
He's Rashid Shaheed if Shaheed had more of a route running ability.
That's probably true. He's probably a little quicker than Shaheed too.
But he could play the Shaheed role if that's
in a 30-40 yard sprint. There's maybe like 3 guys in the NFL that are going to beat Shaheed. But Yeah.
And then
Consider.
my last guy that I want to mention, my number 7, Surratt. We talked about him a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Very high floor player here.
Yeah.
And I think, it goes back to what I talked about when the Colts paid Alec Pierce all that money. This is the type of guy that makes you say, why do you pay Alec Pierce? Because it feels like every draft class, there's some guys like this that just, they're not very speedy, and they don't have the most elaborate skill set. But you ask him to go deep and catch a 50-50 ball over someone's head, he's doing it. Like he's just an animal when the ball's in the air. Now, the speed isn't anything great. He's not elusive after the catch. The release package, again, just isn't too strong.
Limited athlete, in my opinion.
Limited athlete, but who cares? He'll out-rebound you every day of the week. And that's what you can bring him in to do. He reminds me of almost like, again, I think Alec Pierce is really accurate here. I don't see
I don't think he's got the speed of Alec Pierce, though.
How much Alec Pierce film do you watch and say, oh yeah, that speed is a crucial part of his game? I don't think it's much.
Yeah, but
I agree. Pierce is faster.
Yeah,
but I also don't care because he's not fast. He's just faster.
Okay, touche.
Like that's kind of how I look at this. Like, I also think Surratt, like, he could settle versus zone. And
yeah, very smart player. And I think what really helped him is to have a quarterback like Fernando Mendoza, who was able to put the ball in a perfect situation where it's either an incomplete pass. I mean, we saw in the playoffs, especially, those back shoulders were crispy.
Oh, yeah.
Just like football porn, right? It was great. And he's the type of guy who is going to be able to find the ball in the air, to keep his body to have good body control, and he's on the sideline. Again, I do worry about being a limited athlete, but if he gets with a hyper-accurate quarterback, I think this is a really, really good receiver that you're probably going to get in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and
the 4th.
He's never going to be your 1. He's never going to be your 1.
No.
Might not even be your 2.
I would be surprised if he was bad, though. I'd be surprised if he was bad.
And that's exactly the thing. If he's bad, it's the coach's fault and the offensive coordinator's fault, because clearly you're asking him to do something that he doesn't do.
Real.
Because
if I see one end around with Elijah Surratt, we're firing the entire staff.
Yeah, exactly. He does something, let him stick to it.
Yeah.
Like he does. You get Deebo Samuel, you give him the ball on an end around, right? Yeah. You give him jet sweeps. You don't ask Deebo Samuel to run a 9 route and beat someone on a 50-50 ball. You don't ask Deebo Samuel to run a double move.
No.
I mean, that's what this is. Surratt he's a niche, but damn is he good at that niche.
Yeah.
He could be a team's 2 if they want that type of 2. If you don't want that type of 2, you don't want that type of player, don't get anywhere near him, because it's such a clear evaluation of what this guy is. He's going to just out-rebound you. But yeah, that's where I stand on this receiver class. Those will be my top 7.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting top 7. I don't think it's nearly as controversial as your edge rusher rankings, my friend.
I just had one. The edge rusher rank. It was one guy.
But it's like guy who's gonna go 3rd overall. You had him as like not even top 7 almost. You're talking about Keldrick Falk.
But when I'm right, no one here. Like when I'm wrong, people are always the first people to jump on me and all that. But when I'm right, no one cares. I mean, when I talk about Anthony Richardson and say he's not going to do a lot of anything, or Trey Lance and say he's not going to do much.
To this episode. That's your 3rd.
It's not directed at you. You just took it that way, right?
But I'm
God
the
forbid
I
mention. Okay, fine. We'll go Trey Lance. If I say Trey Lance is going to suck,
I feel like that one. It was so weird. I've never seen like a consensus of people being like, "Yeah, I don't like Trey Lance at all." And Kyle Shanahan of all people took him 3rd overall and traded up to get him. Yeah. That was the weirdest draft pick I've ever seen in my life.
People don't talk about the miracle that didn't completely derail their franchise.
Dude, if they didn't take Brock Purdy,
like that should have killed the 49ers.
If they didn't take Brock Purdy with pick 200 and 60 to 58, whatever it was,
last pick of the draft,
they literally would have crumbled to the ground because of Trey Lance. If you swap out Trey Lance for Brock Purdy, they're totally fine. And it's just only they would have that type of just dumb fucking luck to just do something like that. Like, that's unreal. That makes me so mad. But
yeah, but like the draft is interesting because
Yeah.
the consensus is never right.
Yeah.
So
You're
why
right.
is it that people are so quick to jump on people about being off the consensus when the consensus, again, is never right?
Yeah.
If you watch David Bailey and you like his film, that's good for you, right? That's awesome for you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a dunce.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just looking into the Matrix and you should be taking the right pill. I would say the color of the pill, but I don't remember.
I think it's the red one. I've never seen The Matrix. This might be
Really?
getting me can't.
I've
Yeah, I've
watched the
never seen it.
first one, which is why I probably should know
There's
what
more
pill
than
it
one.
is.
I actually
There's a
didn't know there's
lot.
more than one.
I don't think I've watched the other ones, but I've watched the first one.
Mm,
Also,
okay.
why would you think a movie that's like as notable as that wouldn't have a sequel? You know enough about modern
Titanic doesn't have a sequel.
yet.
Oh, come
Just
on.
wait.
They're bringing back Leo for Titanic 2. It's going to be all filmed all underwater. I don't know, man. Some movies don't have. I think a lot of the Scorsese movies don't have sequels. Like Django is really good.
Django was
Tarantino.
Tarantino.
Tarantino. Yes,
Wow.
excuse me.
You said one movie and you got it
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah,
Jesus.
man. This is how we know we got to end
You're
the
off.
episode. My brain is not working anymore. And that's where I started saying dangerous things like Anthony Richardson's going to be a franchise quarterback.
Listen, we got one more quick little speed round of a segment here. Can I get your brain for that?
Yeah, let me Jimmy Neutron lock it back in. And yeah, speed round, throw it at me. What do we got?
All right. Free agency leftovers. We got a couple guys here, not too many, but some old heads. We'll just make this the old head round. Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins.
it is the old head round.
Where do we think he goes? Just fire.
Can I say Atlanta? I don't know. Can I say Atlanta? I kind of feel like that's a good spot for him.
No way.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he's gonna go to Atlanta.
Kevin Stefanski
Houston.
Reunion.
Houston.
As a backup.
Yeah.
Although Davis Mills is pretty solid.
Trade Davis Mills. Get Kirko as your backup.
Davis Mills is pretty solid. I don't know. I think that makes the Texans a worse team. I don't know. I don't love that.
I know, but you can get
Although
a third for
maybe
Davis Mills.
is that a real competition? All I know is if Davis Mills had the name value that Kirk Cousins does, Davis Mills gets in the game at the end.
I know.
Instead of C.J. Stroud living to throw another pick
against
the Patriots.
Some tell me that they want to bring in a veteran guy for C.J. Stroud, like a super veteran. I don't know.
Something tells me he needs it.
Yeah.
Now we move to Stephon Diggs, former Texan here.
Oh gosh, this has tripped me up. So I don't know because I think the character issues are such a big deal. Like if the Patriots released him after the season he had, I think he's gonna be forced to take a 1-year, $2 million deal with a shitter. Maybe the Dolphins
with a bad team.
They're very thin at receiver.
Yep.
Clearly he likes Miami, right? Am I right, guys?
Yeah, he does.
So I think that Miami could be an option for him just to reestablish himself, play with Malik Willis. Excuse me. See my brain's.
What about Philly?
Yeah, Philly's
replace AJ Brown with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, add him to Philly. Yeah, see how that goes. Yeah. No, I think Miami makes sense just for the current trajectory of his career.
All right, well, let's stick with these old heads. This is the first player I would just say is washed. Kirk Cousins is kind of washed too. Deebo Samuel.
I don't know. Like to me, I know you talked about the Chargers. The Chargers make sense. I
talked about that. I talked about that before the recording. I think the Charger would be cool because Mike McDaniel's there.
I don't know that the Deebo Samuel design is like still good for him, like the way that he is.
Yeah, is the Deebo Samuel like jet sweep or Deebo Samuel toss out of the backfield? Does that still like threaten defensive coordinators?
I don't think so at all. I don't know that this is like a guy who anybody wants. And then it's like, well,
he had some good games last year though. He had a few games where he like balled out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Dude, you're getting me so messed up with Deebo Samuel. Let me throw out the Buffalo Bills. Why not, man? Do something dynamic with your offense. Dynamic.
That would be the only team that like gets him to be a normal receiver.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They would ask him to run like slants.
DJ
like,
Moore is getting the tosses
screens.
and the jet sweeps, and they're gonna.
Yeah.
I have a good one.
I think the Chiefs would be kind of cool.
Oh my gosh.
I think a Deebo Samuel, Justin Fields offense ran by Eric Bieniemy. Come on, man. Does that
Madden,
not
bro.
like
We're
if that
playing
doesn't
Madden.
tickle your fancy, you don't
What
like
happened to the Kansas City dynasty I love? We're playing Madden now with my Chiefs. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I don't care.
Okay,
But
fine. Let's go with the lineman to rationalize us, get us back down to earth. Kevin Zietler.
yeah, Baltimore.
You think he goes back to Baltimore?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I think
don't
that's fair. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be very expensive.
I think Pittsburgh maybe. Look there, they lost Sayamalu. I think he fits their brand. I think that'd be a kind of cool one. Okay. Next old head we got Cameron Jordan.
This is so Bears coded.
Oh, I could see that. I don't even have to ask ChatGPT to generate it.
This is
I could see it. I'm generating it in my own head.
I can see the Tide commercials, but it replaced the Tide pods with like a Wiener Circle hot dog. I could see it like it's alive. Okay, Cam Jordan's a Bear. Next.
Okay. How about Joey Bosa?
You want to talk about washed? Oh my gosh. I could see Joey Bosa going to the Commanders. I could see it.
Yeah. Don't you think he wants to compete though? The fact he went to Buffalo last,
well,
but he
also
also
have a good young quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of worse teams you can sign with the Commanders. You could a lot of people could convince themselves that 2025 was a fluke and 2024 is their standard, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. We talked about Stephon Diggs earlier. We got to talk about his relative, Trayvon Diggs. What do you think is the spot here?
I have 3 letters, and I'm interested to see if you know what these 3 letters are. KBO. Do you know what that stands for?
Nope, no idea.
The Korean Baseball Organization. We're sending him overseas to play a different sport. That's how ass he is, okay? That's how ass Trayvon Diggs is. He is horrible. Hurt. He was just...
I could see... Why didn't you just say UFL?
No,
you could have just done the actual existing football one.
No, we're sending him overseas to play a different sport. I said that's how bad he is. Oof. KBO. He's going to KBO. Yeah, I think he's. I don't know that he plays another snap in the NFL.
There's our segment of what retirement homes should these athletes go to. I hope you all enjoyed.
Do they want pudding or apple pie? That's the real question we should be asking about this segment.
Yeah. I mean, poor Trayvon Diggs doesn't even get sent to the home.
Dude, no, he gets sent to the. There's some people with older grandparents. I'm going to be sensitive here. I'm not going to say my joke that I wanted to say.
Trayvon Diggs might deserve it for.
Yeah, no, he's bad. Packers signed him and didn't play him at all. He had like
he's a
2
bad
snaps
apple.
in the play. Yeah, he's bad apple. So we'll see. Go to Dolphins with your brother, man. Have a blast on the yacht. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it. What a chaotic episode we had. Starting to feel a little loopy, so we're gonna log out, guys. See you guys next week.